All right, welcome listeners to Through the Sightglass, a podcast that dives deep into the fascinating world of craft beer and celebrates the incredible individuals who shape its vibrant landscape. Join us on a journey where we explore the nuances of this amazing industry and the remarkable people who contribute to its richness and diversity. And today we get to sit down with Collin, Jason. Thank you guys for making time for us at Icicle Brewing. I know I just introduced you, but can you tell us what you do, your role here, and your name for the listeners following?
Sure, yeah. I'm Collin, the R&D manager at Icicle Brewing Company. That's my official title. Kind of wear some hats in addition to that, but oversee a lot of the new recipe development on our pellet system, make that move to production, and just make sure they're coming out right on the production system as well. So.
Nice.
Very nice.
Yeah, Jason, what about you?
I'm kind of more the administrative role. Official title's VP of Wholesale Operations.
Okay.
I just kind of, based on my role, I like to say is make sure these guys have what they need to do their job. So just kind of oversee the brewing operations manager, the wholesale operations manager, and kind of help them out, keep doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
Nice. Running a happy, healthy company.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Good.
Very nice. Yeah, so where do each of y'all call home? Where do y'all call home?
Well, I'll start there. I call Leavenworth home. I've been living in Leavenworth since I was 9 years old.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, parents moved me up here from Bay Area, California.
Okay.
I was born down in Palo Alto, but moved up here when I was 9, and been living here ever since. Moved away, went to college, came back.
Gotcha.
Moved over to Montana for a while, decided to come back. Been back permanently since 2006.
Very nice.
Nice.
Graduated high school here, got family and friends around the area, and it's hard to get away from such a beautiful place.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. What did your parents move up for? Was it work or just to
had
change
family
scenery?
in the area.
Oh, okay,
so,
gotcha.
A funny story, actually. We came up for a Christmas lighting festival in Leavenworth. So Leavenworth has done this for 30 some odd years or more. Christmas lighting festival where they light up the town, have lots of festivals and traditions, and we came. My aunt and uncle actually had a cabin up in Lake Wenatchee that he had built from the ground up. And so
wow.
we would do Christmases up there at the cabin. And one year we came up from California for Christmas out of Lake Wenatchee, did a day trip into Leavenworth, did the whole Christmas lighting, tourist activities, sledding on the hill.
Oh, yeah.
And parents fell in love with it and decided to move up here like a year later. So
Very cool.
Nice.
yeah, that was kind of the reason. They wanted to get away from the city, get away from the populace of San Francisco metropolitan area, and
Yeah.
fell in love with Leavenworth because we had family that had some property over here. And parents are still here. They're living in an RV, just kind of blew it there, so they spend the time.
Is it Icicle River that runs through here?
Icicle River runs through,
gotcha.
so it comes down from the enchantments up there, up Icicle Creek, or
Oh,
Icicle
okay,
Canyon,
yeah.
excuse me, and then that actually joins up with the Wenatchee River,
Okay.
which comes from Lake Wenatchee, and they actually join the confluence. It's just right downtown here in our local park.
Oh, nice.
So then it comes to Wenatchee. So actually, what's really running through town is the Wenatchee River.
Gotcha.
But the
Gotcha.
Icicle comes down from Icicle Canyon.
I see.
And meets up
Okay.
with the Wenatchee. So the bigger river you're seeing here is the Wenatchee, and that ultimately flows into the Columbia.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and for listeners, we'll have photos for all our social media stuff, but it is a Bavarian-style town, and the enchantments and cascades. And it looks like probably every single old school Christmas movie that you've seen. This town looks like that and
It's
breathes
beautiful.
it, and lives it.
You can sit out on the patio and just look at the mountains, and it's gorgeous. I feel like the blue sky here is different too. I don't know what it is, but we were sitting yesterday on the patio, and it with the mountains in the background, it looks different. So
it's a lot of drastic, I think, changes. It reminds me of Hood River, the gorge. It's the same thing where it'll be skies, clouds coming rolling through that valley, and it just does. It's dramatic.
So beautiful.
Well, you guys picked a great time of year to come too. April, May are fantastic around here. Everything's still green.
Yeah.
There's still some snow up in the mountains. So it's all the groundwater's feeding everything, keeping it green, and the rivers are running. The kayakers love this time of year too.
Oh yeah,
Sure,
we saw
we've
some
seen
whitewater
Raptors,
and stuff.
yeah.
A lot of that's
very
happening right
cool.
now.
It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, very cool.
What about Collin? Where do you call home?
Where do you call home? Where'd you grow up?
Yeah, good question. Definitely the central eastern Washington is
Okay.
my home. Yeah, that's kind of born and raised out in this area for the most part. I've traveled around quite a bit for work in my life. Been around the country, the world, in different spots. But yeah, definitely settled here in central eastern Washington area.
Nice.
Very cool. Yeah, so family lives, did y'all grow up with siblings? Your family, Jason's in the area, like,
We've
tell
got
us a
some
little
family in
bit.
the area.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm an only child, so I don't have
Gotcha.
any siblings, but I've
Yeah.
got a pretty big extended family,
Yeah.
cousins, and second
Nice. So now
cousins.
no need.
What's that?
I was like, no need. You're
Yeah,
like,
no need. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, my mom comes from one of four, and
Gotcha.
then they've kind of offshoot. And
Yeah.
So we got plenty of the younger generation. So
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Did your what'd your parents do for work? Did it influence you getting into beer?
not at all.
Okay.
No, not at all. They my dad, he was an accountant, worked at several different companies.
Okay.
Mom was a parapro, worked in law firms.
Oh,
but
gotcha.
Spent a long time here in this area, part of the Cascade School District. So she worked
Gotcha.
as like secretary for the superintendent, principals, and back to the superintendent's office, and then she worked for the hospital for a while. So a lot
Yeah.
of clerical duties and things like that. But yeah, never really beer oriented by any means.
Gotcha. Okay.
Totally.
To me, that came from college.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. We'll talk
We
about
will
that.
dig in- we'll get into that next.
Did your parents did they drink when you were growing up?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
gotcha.
yeah,
Was it
yeah.
wine, liquor, beer?
I remember, Dad, he liked the liquor. He had the scotch was his drink.
Oh, okay,
So
gotcha.
I remember getting a taste of that when I was a kid, and it was god awful.
Yeah, you're like, oh, yeah.
Subtle drinks. I think they had Coors Light in the fridge.
Okay,
You know,
gotcha.
it was kind of macro beer, and,
Yeah.
wine, whatever. But,
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
Interesting.
How about you, Collin?
Siblings? What your parents do?
I've got one sister. She's 8 years younger than me.
Nice.
Yeah, so they're in Walla Walla.
Okay, gotcha.
Nice.
Walla Walla is a beautiful area.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice. That's where I went to high school. Both my parents are biologists, fish and wildlife.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
A lot of time outdoors then.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's definitely how I grew up doing all that kind of stuff. And so it's just a good part of the country to be in for all that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
It is
yeah.
definitely a good part. Yeah. Any influence from like where they were? Did they ever have beer in the fridge or?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, definitely remember seeing Deschutes and some more craft,
okay,
craft
nice.
brands
Yeah.
around. So
Like Mirror Pond or Black Butte.
right,
Yeah.
Black Butte. I'm sure Mirror Pond is probably out, but back before IPA was king,
Yeah.
that Black Butte was a big popular one. It
Oh,
still is,
yeah.
obviously, but
Yeah.
Very cool.
for sure.
Yeah.
I remember, it's a short story. I remember camping in Walla Walla, and we had gotten peaches, and I was eating a peach, and it was, I don't think it was a moose, probably an elk, but they would just wander into the campgrounds. And I was probably like 5, 6 years old, and he was walking after me for my peach, and I was like, no. And I thought I was being smart, so I turned to run away, and I put it right behind my back, and it just like ate it right out of my
Yeah.
hand. But this thing is like, to me, it looked like
Yeah.
10 feet tall. They would just wander into the camps, and we're like tarp camping with another family in the church, yeah.
Yeah. for
Walla Walla
sure.
was always fun.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So college. Next question.
This is where we find a lot of
This
people
is
Place
yes.
for everything.
get into their drinking, even if it
Yeah.
doesn't deal with their major. So, what did you guys study in college, and what was your first experience like with
Beer.
craft
With
beer?
Beer, yeah. Well, I went to college at Central Washington University here in Ellensburg, so pretty close for me. I actually I went there for theater.
Okay.
I was big into theater in high school.
Nice, me too, man.
Yeah, I did all the right on. Did all the productions. My senior project, I directed my own play.
Oh, awesome!
And so
Oh,
I had
that's
a lot
so
of
rad.
friends in there, and did a stint with the Leavenworth Summer Theater program. It's an amateur theater program we have here
Oh,
in town.
nice.
I worked on My Fair Lady. I was the second assistant director there.
Oh, lovely.
And stage,
Great music.
second
Great
assistant
show.
stage manager. So really kind of like doing behind the scenes stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And the director of the show actually was a professor at Central Washington University. And so I got a scholarship to go there for theater.
Nice.
Once I got over there, the very first semester, stupidly decided to take 8 a.m. classes, which never a good idea for a freshman in college.
Oh yeah, always do the later schedule.
Yeah, so I didn't make too many of those classes, and I found I didn't really click with the theater program there. So I kind of shifted and ended up focusing on sociology and ended up getting my degree there, focusing a lot on survey research and basically study habits of college students.
Okay, interesting, nice.
Yeah, and so throughout that process, a couple of my roommates, one of my good buddies, Jared, he used to really like to brew beer, him and his buddy Leif, and I remember hanging out with them one day, walking in to the house, and you could smell the the boiling wort going, and kind of think, wow, that smells kind of funky. What is that? And kind of started just hanging out with them, watching over their shoulders. And then I remember the first time I actually took hops and rubbed it in my hands and put it into the beer. I was like, this is what I like in beer. I like that aroma. I like that smell. And so from there is kind of where I started exploring the craft industry and craft beer altogether.
Nice.
Did you, so outside of just drinking the home brew, were you seeking out craft beer in the area that you were at to try other things as well?
Yeah, as best I could. I mean, just really kind of just local bars. At the time there wasn't a brewery in Ellensburg. There's Iron Horse out there now, so they opened up.
Right.
I think as I graduated, and I remember thinking, God, that'd be great to work at a brewery.
Yeah,
that'd be super cool. When I graduated, moved away before they opened up, so that was an opportunity for me there. But yeah, I mean, I started experiencing with IPAs. Really, was kind of where I went in college. And
nice.
Is there one that you remember?
I can't say that I really do. I mean, I drank a lot of Deschutes cut up after college. When I moved back to Leavenworth, I worked for a great pub here in town called Uncle Uli's. It's no longer around, but they were a craft beer bar. 10 beers on tap, and mainly a Deschutes house, so got familiar with a lot of Deschutes beers.
Nice. I love a craft beer bar, too, that's 10 beers on tap, because now it'd be like 20, 30. It's like, no, dude, you just need 10.
Yeah.
10 in a bottle selection.
Yeah, we were a Deschutes house for sure.
Nice.
So things like Inversion was one of mine. Hop Hens, when that first came out, was a big one.
Yeah.
But yeah, kind of IPAs were where I was searching out. Any kind of IPA, get my hands on it.
That's what sparked your curiosity. Had you had like Stone or anything like that?
I did, yeah.
Okay,
a couple
gotcha.
bombers of those back when everything was in 22-ounce bottles. And, Arrogant Bastard was a big one too. Dead Guy, I remember Rogue.
Oh yeah. Stuff that just really punched you in the face.
Yeah, exactly. Big
the
beers.
bittering hops were not measured. It was just like gonna make it. It's like almost like a lemon head. Just make a face about it.
Yeah, very nice.
What about for you, Collin? Where'd you go to school? What'd you study, and what was your first experience with craft beer?
Yeah, I went to school at Western Washington.
Okay. So Ellensburg and Bellingham.
Yep,
Correct?
Bellingham.
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
So it's another great spot in the state. Just really liked it up there. Studied environmental science. So it's kind of where I got my science background, which has been definitely helpful translated into the brewing industry.
Yeah.
Knowing all the science behind everything.
Were you looking at doing a field similar to your parents?
I was a biologist for I guess my first career. For
Gotcha.
For a decade or so, I traveled around the country doing different stints for the Park Service and different governmental agencies studying a variety of different species. Really a lot of fish, some sea turtle work.
Interesting.
Various
Nice.
different things.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite fish?
Well, it's hard. I was a freshwater fisheries biologist.
Okay.
So salmon's king out here.
Okay.
That's what pays the bills.
Put it on the record.
Right. So that's what keeps everyone employed in fish biology out here.
Is salmon.
But,
Gotcha.
I worked with bull trout at Crater Lake National Park, and
nice.
it's a pretty compelling species. What it does. Looks cool name. Looks cool. It's got this little niche trying to stay alive out there in the wide world. So
It's always been interesting learning about the fish in like the mountain lakes. And I worked at REI when I was working at Seven Seas for 2 years. And plenty of people during the summertime, they'd work winter and do summer work for like the parks. And a lot of them would just restock fish, like golden trout or things like that. And it's crazy because they're like, oh yeah, you just have like a live fish tank and you're backpacking it like 30 miles in to dump these fish in the lake. And it's like in 5 years, it's going to look awesome.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
But
so
that was always inspired me. I thought it was super cool.
It's amazing. I think it's just like, I feel like we could like talk about all of your stuff so much too as well. So, what was like craft beer? What was your first experience? First beer, maybe that stood out?
Yeah, I mean that was probably probably Mac and Jack's back in the day. Right?
Amber.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dry hopped amber. I mean, back in the day before. I mean, IPA still hadn't really taken over the scene. I mean, this is early 2000s, and pretty much the whole hockey team was on.
Oh, there you
Mac
go.
and Jack.
You played
so
hockey?
It's just like, yeah.
Nice.
I was
Okay.
like
Right on.
I mean, if we could have sponsored our own jerseys, we would have been.
Yeah.
Mac and Jack's Ambrail. I love that.
But a couple guys on the team homebrewed, and I was like, oh man, I gotta figure out how to do that. You know?
Okay, gotcha. So once you figure there's something else beyond amber, like Mac and Jack's amber, because they also had ibis and Serengeti wheat. I always forget about that. I remember the tap handles. I remember about the animals.
Right? Yeah.
they had put on it.
Yeah. We went down and toured the brewery back then, and I think they only had like 2 or 3 beers back then. It was just like brewing out of the garage facility, and
That's so wild.
They didn't even have an IPA yet then.
It's wild to think that like that's how a lot of breweries started, was just doing like one style of beer, and it just took over that state. Like Pete's Wicked Brown Ale, Sierra Nevada Pale Ale, Mac and Jack's, I would definitely say for Washington State. It was just like, oh yeah, that's like the beer for here.
Right?
Yeah.
Or even
Super interesting.
And it's definitely a common theme. I mean, between the two of y'all, both of y'all having home brew experience with friends and stuff like that, I think almost every single person that we've talked to thus far with the podcast has home brewed or been around someone who does home brewing or is interested in home brewing. So I think that's just a huge catalyst into being in the industry itself. So
I feel people like to figure out the process or figure out the product. And sometimes it's both, but usually it's like, I was super curious about the science behind how to make beer, or it's like I was super curious about like the finished product. How do you express that?
Yeah.
Where was the maybe like the curiosity and like switch flip for you, for both of y'all, of like, I want to do beer as a living? Do you have a pivotal moment, or was a slow graduation into it?
I mean, for me, going to college, we had Leavenworth Brewery here. They were still brewing. We used to come back and get party pigs. They call it like 2.5 gallon party pigs. And get the Hodgson's IPA and take that back to college with us. And so I always kind of wanted to work at the brewery whenever he finished up and moved back to Leavenworth. And
What's a party pig? I'm sorry.
It's like kind of a round.
It's like
Pig,
a big
looks like a
growler.
pig.
It's like
Yeah,
a
it's a big
bigger
growler.
growler that
Oh,
lays
okay.
on its side, and it has a bladder inside. So
Oh,
like,
interesting.
as
Okay.
opposed to a growler that's only good for like once you open it. Like these had like a tap and like a CO2 canister,
wow.
but there's a bladder inside, so it didn't push the CO2 directly
Interesting.
in. But there's
So it kept it fresher.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and
nice.
that's a little bit longer and higher volume too. You got 2.5 gallons as opposed to 64 ounces.
Yeah,
So,
100%. Okay.
That's
Right. So you
wild.
just,
And it laid on its side, you said?
Yeah, it did. Yeah, I haven't seen one of
Party
those for a
pigs.
long
It's
time.
kind of looked like a pig, right? So
Man.
they call
that's
it a party
awesome.
pig.
So
yeah.
you'd come load up, get your beer for the
You'd
weekend.
come home.
Okay.
Yeah, we come home on the weekends
Right.
and grab a party pig and take it back to the house. And
Right.
in college.
Charge a cover fee or a cup fee.
right, cup
Yeah,
fee,
gotta make this back somehow.
I always kind of thought I'd be kind of cool to work for a brewery. I like the beer, so it'd be cool to work for a brewery. And then they ended up moving locations. They got bought by Fish Brewing Company, Fishtail Ales.
Okay.
And took our operations to the west side, so there was no brewery here in town in Leavenworth for a long period of time, to where our founders actually, Pamela and Oliver Berlot, saw a need for a brewery. Leavenworth Brewery left. There was a lot of great people that still I'm friends with to this day that worked there at the original Leavenworth Brewery. And so I was working at Uncle Wooley's, like I said, down there. I worked there for probably 9 years or so, just loving beer. And then Icicle decided to open up a brewery to start a brewery in a great town that needed a brewery.
Yeah.
So, it was back in 2010. They broke ground, opened the doors in 2011.
Gotcha.
That was the first batch of beers brewed in 2011. April, they opened their doors here at Icicle for the first time, and I was like, I want to work there.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to work for a brewery. So, I applied a couple times, kind of got looked over, but then finally got a job in 2013.
Okay,
I
gotcha.
got
So a couple
job
years
there.
after they
A couple
opened.
years after they'd opened, yeah.
Nice.
So,
They the Brulots, they owned a hop farm, or they come from hop farmers. I think is what I read.
Yeah, so Oliver's a fourth generation hop farmer out
Okay.
of Prosser, Washington. So just kind of south the Yakima Valley, that whole valley area, Sunnyside, down all the way to the Tri-Cities, a big hop farming community. So his family, Brulot Farm, still actually operates a hop farm.
Oh, nice.
Down there in the Prosser area.
Do you all utilize their products?
We do actually, yeah. Sometimes.
I'm assuming
I think
when it's
they're
like
part of the
available to do
YCH.
so.
I think they're part of the YCH co-op
Okay.
group. So, but yeah, Brew One is one of their proprietary hops, I believe.
Sure, yeah, he's got, it's interesting, the family ties of Yakima. As you start to get to know more hop farmers, it's, the roots run deep. And so, in addition to the Brew Lot Farms, Oliver's second cousins with the owner of CLS Farms.
Oh, okay.
So hops run deep.
It's
so,
family business.
Eric and Shelley of CLS, we work super close with them. We contract a large volume of our hops through CLS, and we do quite a few collaborations with them each year on our pallet system to just celebrate that family relationship. And there's one on tap right now.
Oh, nice. What beer is that?
It's the 1 and 8, so it's a breast cancer awareness beer, and it's highlighting their new experimental hop X14. We brewed like a contemporary American Pilsner, like a low alcohol, easy drinker that's just got like that kind of like slight fruity finish of that X14, like kind of modern Pilsner lager hop. They're
wonderful.
Very cool.
Wonderful.
I'll have to try it. I haven't tried that one yet.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, love that. Collin, going back to you, what was your flip into from your environmental scientist life, biology into craft beer? What was that flip for you?
Yeah, good question. It's kind of a long time coming. Once I finally found a friend to teach me how to homebrew. Like I said, I was traveling around the country chasing these seasonal jobs, doing biology, and had a homebrew kit packed in my truck with all my other stuff.
That's old school gypsy brewer,
right? Yeah.
I'm like, how do you? Doing that out of a truck, and I'm sure that was interesting.
My homebrewing claim to fame was so I was working on the research vessel on Crater Lake National Park, and so we'd take water samples all the way to the bottom of the lake, testing all these different parameters. It's like some of the clearest recorded water in the world on record.
Please tell me you brewed a beer with that water.
Yeah, so I sent an extra vessel down, collected 5 gallons, created it all the way back, and brewed a batch with water from the bottom of Crater Lake.
That's awesome.
Epic.
That's better than Ninkasi sending yeast to space. Right. I'm sorry.
I guarantee you no one else has done that.
That's beautiful.
So that was good. Homebrewed for a long time. Got super into it. I ended up when I moved to Montana. There wasn't quite a whole lot of beer out there at the time. Lived in Bozeman. There's just the one brewery at the time. That's really when I dug in deep to homebrewing. I joined in with the homebrew club. Ended up nerding out there, being president of the club.
Oh, nice.
Awesome.
I started throwing homebrew competitions through the club. Ended up helping one of the local stores wanted to launch a homebrew shop, so I ended up managing that for them. So we're basically doing the homebrew shop thing. I got really into it for about a decade, and I guess the switch was after Peace Corps. I came back with my wife, and she landed a job with the Forest Service up in the Methow Valley. It's like 2 hours north of here, and really small community. Just still felt young at the time, and landed without a job, and there's a real good brewery up there, Old Schoolhouse Brewery.
Okay, nice.
And just kind of walked in the door looking for a job, and started bartending for the summer, and then they had a brewer that moved on, and I just jumped in the cellar, and got to learn from those guys.
That's very cool.
Nice.
Was that the only other brewery that you worked for?
Yep. Old Schoolhouse in here.
Yeah.
Cool. That's awesome.
How long were you there at Old School?
I was there for 2 years.
Okay.
Started in the cellar, and worked up to the brew deck, and then we had a kid, and my wife kind of concurrently, my wife got transferred down to Wenatchee, and so we made the move from Methow down to Wenatchee, and did the stay-at-home dad thing for a little bit.
Yeah. Nice.
She was 3 months old when we moved.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
And then I was maybe stay-at-home dad for 3 or 6 months before. I knew Icicle. We'd done collaborations with them with Old Schoolhouse, and then the head or the brewmaster at the time was like, hey, we got a job opening if you want to come on board.
Come on board.
Nice. That is one good thing about this community is, I mean, people call it poaching, but people are always looking to, have like, I wouldn't say fresh talent, but just like, hey, if you need work, it's here. I think that's always, I never have to fear. Like, I'm taking a year off of brewing to work on this right now, and I'm like, I don't worry. It's like, will I have a job when I get back? Because I know after about 3 to 6 months of talking with people, they'll be like, oh yeah, you want to run the canning line or hop in the cellar and do the stuff people don't want to do? I'll be like, yeah, sure.
Right, yeah, absolutely. There's always work to be done.
Always work to be done for sure. Yeah. So when did you start here at Icicle, and what did you do when you first started?
Yeah, I've been here about 6 years now. Yeah, so we
Like
toured the
2018?
production. Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah,
You've been here 2012, 2013?
Yeah,
2013.
2012.
Yeah.
Or sorry, 2013, March.
Yeah.
Spring
Yeah.
of 2013.
So we have a production facility now where most of our beer is made, but we were still here in the pub in our original spot when I came on. We'd just broken ground for our production site, but I started here at the pub, and that was really good timing because I got to see the old way, knew how everything was done.
Yeah.
I got to help move everything to the new facility, and now I'm one of the grandpas of Icicle with the guys can complain about this or that, and I can do the crotchety old.
Yeah.
Well, how I used
back
to
in
be.
my day, yeah.
So that's always good for a laugh.
That is good. Yeah.
And so you've watched a couple iterations of Icicle. What was that like for you, seeing it from basically its beginnings to now?
It's been great. So again, the Brlots, great people. They had they started with a snow kettle corn stand
Okay.
just downtown, and that evolved into what's now the Muchen House.
Oh,
so
okay,
that's our
gotcha.
sister restaurant. So the Brat.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay,
yeah.
that's really
So
rad.
they founded that in 2001, I believe, or something.
Wow.
And so after working that for years, they decided that a brewery should open up, and I actually lived just kind of a couple blocks away, and working at Uli's when I was, I'd walk by the construction site every day of the brewery. So
Oh, watching it get built.
Yeah, literally got to watch it be built, thinking, God, it'd be great to work there someday.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been a trip to see kind of the evolution in what they've done with the place and what Icicle's, what we've been able to accomplish. I mean, as Collin said, all of our production operations used to be in this building here, and it got pretty tight when you've got all those fermenters and now it's time to add a whirlpool and a centrifuge and canning line. When it was time, back, bombers were kind of fading out and cans were becoming the premier package for craft, and how do we make it work? How do we make it fit? And,
I feel like that was right around like 2015, 16 is where you saw a lot of people go from bombers to cans.
Yeah.
I know 7Cs, they always said we were the first people to package beer in cans in Washington State, which technically for I think it was like 12-ounce cans they were, but everybody was on that trend already, and it was already shifting.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we did a couple kind of test runs into cans with the mobile canning unit out of Spokane, and it just kind of, you could see that that's the way things were going in the craft industry, and so, we ultimately invested in a Wild Goose.
yeah.
Something that was mobile, because as Collin said, we used to bottle on the ramp.
Yes, you have to move
Going
it.
down to the cooler, so, I was a mobile bottler, so he'd come and he'd set up, and then break down and leave, and take all
Gotcha.
his equipment, so we're like, well, we could do that ourselves, we own the equipment. And so, literally, we set up the canning line, run, and then break it down and move it out of the way because we didn't have the space to actually set it up.
Do you have any favorite canning day moments that you were involved in?
Oh, man.
Always a great
I don't
question.
know. It's a great question. I mean, I don't, there's lots of favorites. The first time you can anything is always fun.
Oh, yeah.
Collin's talked about some of the experimental hop that we do off the pilot system here. We've got one, a Japanese rice lager that we just released.
Oh, nice.
Last week, I believe.
And I'm assuming those are like shorter runs in terms of like case count. It's probably like not, like 1,000 cases. It's like 100 or whatnot.
240 was a big day for us. Doing 240 cases a day, and that was a full day.
Yeah.
We didn't have a depalletizer, so we literally had somebody standing at the end of the rinse cage just throwing 4 cans down at a time because we had a four-head filler, Wild Goose 4-head filler. So
Super
in advance,
intimate process.
it advanced 4 cans, and so he'd put 4 down.
Yeah.
sit there and wait, index another 4, throw another 4 cans
Yeah.
down. But I think, my favorite is new products and, tasting a beer and just being like, I can't wait to put that in a can.
Oh, nice.
It's going to be so good, either to take on the river or take up in the mountains and go, take up with the ski area and go go riding in the POW and crack a beer out of your pocket, on the chairlift and the next session up.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
So I'd say those are kind of my favorite days on the canning line when you got something new coming out.
Yeah, that you're excited about.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
What about for you? You probably have some fun packaging day stories. It'd be fun to hear one.
Well, yeah, it's it's hard to say. Yeah, it's just
They're all great.
Such an interesting difference between what we have now and what we had then. Just the automation we have on the packaging side versus just doing it the hard way.
Yeah.
I think I don't know if I have any one specific story. It's just like every day was an event. I mean, it took 5 guys to run that, 4-head wild goose, like Jason was saying. It's like we didn't have a pack deck applicator, so one person, all they're doing is all day just cranking pack decks onto cans, and it's just like you can feel it in your wrist. It's like
Literally drying
palm,
all the cans with a towel.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Weigh them too if you don't have like
Yeah,
a
weight-
tech,
weigh
you
the
weigh them for
cans,
weight.
drying
Yeah.
them with a towel, pack deck them.
Anyone still out there without a pack deck applicator?
Yeah.
Man,
Well, we talked about it. Yeah, when we were at the production facility, like seeing y'all you just need 2 right now to run. Is that correct? To run the
Essentially to watch the machine and a third probably on the end.
Yeah.
We typically need absolutely 2 to do it. 3 is pretty ideal because then you can have, we like to do like a lot of multitasking. So the third guy is also maybe running over and washing cakes and, sometimes we're filling cakes while we're canning at the same time too. So, but yeah, we can get away with 2 people on the line now. But to Colin's point, we used to run it with 5 people, sometimes more, 6 people. Just everybody has a specific station, and you try and rotate around so you don't get stagnant. But you prepare for a 240 case day. That was going to take forever.
Yeah.
Now you're
that's full time.
And that was all in the cold box. So.
Yeah, in the
cold
room.
in the cold
box.
box.
It's set up in
the nice thing was, on day 1 of work, you get a really nice, like German-made, like puffy jacket that I still have. Like that was it's like here you go, you get a jacket.
There you go.
Welcome to the job.
Right.
That's amazing.
That 15-minute break to come out and
warm
up.
I think we've had that, other than Steeplejack, I've had that at every brewery. There was always one jacket that hung on the wall that if you're doing cooler work, it's like, that is just one size. It was always like double XL.
Yeah.
It was just like, it was going to be baggy, just put it on, be warm. I'm already a hot running person, so I take breaks in the coolers. I like sitting there and eat lunch. I'm just like, yes, make it as cold as possible.
Yeah, I love that. So, to skip back a little bit, so whenever Icicle first started, so there was Leavenworth that had closed or moved. So when y'all first started, what was the community like? What did it look like for the community and y'all opening? Like, were they accepting of it? Obviously, y'all are doing really well. What did that look like? Or what you saw, I should say, maybe.
It's also a pretty small community. I saw it's only like 2,500 to 3,000 people here. Is what it said in 2022 consensus.
Yeah, that's about right. The city limits are pretty small, so there's only so many people that live within city limits. But it's a larger area, surrounding area. Yeah,
gotcha.
All the outside of city limits. There's a lot of people that live in the area.
Gotcha.
That, work here, or at least call Leavenworth home, and they may work down in Wenatchee or remotely or whatever. But the community was super supportive, was super receptive of it. Pam and Oliver having ran the Moonchin House for so long, really are kind of ingrained in the community here, and so they're always trying to give back to the community. And at Icicle, we still kind of hold that as one of our core values, is to be community oriented. So lots of benevolent nights, and just try to put a lot of fun things on for the community, people to come and hang out.
Nice.
And so when it first opened, it was a great local watering hole. I mean, the patio was full every night, and a lot of locals hanging out and drinking their beer, and it was a regular thing. So I think people were really happy to see a brewery open up in Leavenworth again. And,
Nice.
Start producing craft beer. The lineup was a lot different back then. We opened up, and there was a lot of the names of our beers were somewhat difficult to pronounce in the German theme of things. We had what we called Freund Fest beer. That was Freud is a canyon up here
Okay.
outside of Leavenworth. It's a great mountain biking area. Some great trails up there, and people from out of town don't know how to say the word Freud. When you see it spelled out, it's pretty difficult to say. And so there was a whitewater rapid right here at the end of the Tumwater called Chaos, spelled with a K. So we had our Chaos Kolsch, and people couldn't quite figure out how to say it. So we realized that was kind of tough to. Like when you're naming your beers, you may want to think about how people are gonna say it.
Yeah, because when somebody says it wrong, it's also like, huh?
Yeah.
What?
But I'm sure the servers and everybody like kind of knew what they were wanting.
A gentle way of educating.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to tell when someone's fruing. What is that?
Yeah.
So how do y'all name beers now? Like, what does that look like? Y'all have so many different beers that y'all are making. What does that strategy look like for y'all?
Well, that's the battle. Yeah, okay, we got a great beer. Now we got to name it.
Not smart anymore.
Yeah.
Just as it's coming from Bright into package, you're like, oh, we haven't named this. Fuck.
Yeah.
That's about how the pilot system goes. It's a little loose. But yeah, for production, it's like we've got a big team these days, right? So we've got a sales and marketing department. A lot of people who do a lot of different things. As we've grown, we've added these types of positions. So I think like our Enchantments IPA series is like maybe the best example of like, right? It's like, it's always going to say Enchantments on the can, but like each iteration has a different place name from within the Enchantments.
You can get that beer in REI. Like right at the checkout stand, just
kidding.
have your Enchantments.
They
won't sell it, but it's like REI. You should.
Right. Yeah, it is. Yeah, that is a good idea. But yeah, so when you can just iterate on something like that, it definitely becomes challenging when you have to come up with a new name each time. So it's kind of like anything that's going to go big tends to be wrapped into some sort of series. We did a West Coast series for quite a few years there. And, the Hazy series. Otherwise, if you're gonna launch a new singular core brand, it's like you gotta spend a lot of time to like see, brainstorming names, see what's already taken, what's left. Yeah, it's a real challenge.
We definitely heard
trademarks and copyrights.
Yeah.
Research and all those. Yeah.
We definitely have heard that like over some podcasts, like seeing what is already taken. You come up with a good name and then you look and it's already taken.
We know some brewery owners and friends that like they rack it up like rewards, like getting cease and desists. Because it's like, dude, like especially if you're smaller, it's like why would you care? But it happens.
Yeah.
So similar to names, but the direction your guys' beer is going is phenomenal. And you guys just won gold at World Beer Cup for Dragon Tail IPA.
Yeah. Congratulations.
How do you? Yes.
It's amazing.
Congratulations.
Drinking it currently.
And it's
love it.
super satisfying.
We know why y'all won.
Yeah.
For sure.
How has that change been for y'all coming from like a Bavarian kind of German style town where I think people probably expect more ambers, lagers, things like, or we should say lagers than ambers. How have you guys kind of navigated and I guess like taught and educated people maybe about like, no, this is what we're capable of doing?
Yeah, I think, from my perspective, just a lot of that's come from the pallet system, right? So, we've got a 5-barrel pallet system here that's kind of just open for, anything and everything. Sky's the limit, do whatever. So definitely try to, push the boundaries there on some different beer styles. Of course, we have production goals, right? I mean, like a company our size. So it's like, most any beer that we're going to release is probably taken at least a turn off the pallet system, right?
First,
so it's like, you can learn a lot there, trial things out, try new hops, try new techniques, whatever. So it really, I think, just makes that production environment just a lot more solid, reliable, because you've already tested out, right? As opposed to if you don't have that, you're like, all right, well, here's a 30-barrel pallet batch.
Oh yeah, and you guys got to work through it.
There's definitely breweries out there that you can tell. I mean, that like breweries that I know make great beer, but it's like you try something new on 30 barrels and it doesn't work out exactly how you like. It's like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah. Is the feedback pretty instantaneous with the customers and kind of demographic here in Leavenworth of like what works and doesn't if you do it on here?
Right. Yeah. That's one of our challenges trying to quantitate that. Mm-hmm. Like So yeah, everything off the pallet system, or at least say 99% of it's just here in the tap room. Maybe it could go to an event or something like that to get some more wide-ranging feedback. But yeah, none of that goes out to distribution. So yeah, we've really been trying to figure out, how do you compile that feedback, and what do you do with it?
What do you do with it?
Yeah.
The scientist in your head is like, what do I do with this information? How do I put this into a spreadsheet?
Very true.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. No,
That's first of all, gathering the data is probably
the hardest
part.
Yeah.
The
Getting people more to be
easiest
like, oh, I like it or I don't like it. It's like, tell me more. Why?
Yeah.
And it's like,
It's easiest to tell when it goes really quick.
Right.
oh, yeah. You
I'm
can
sure.
nail.
Yeah.
You get about eight kegs or so average on that, and if it goes in a week or if it goes in 2 months, it's
Yeah.
a good indicator.
So interesting. What is y'all's strategy for doing the pilot system, or for even, trying new things? Like, is it the ingredients that y'all have at hand, or is it the feedback that you're receiving? What do y'all look at to even put on the pilot system and then potentially put in production?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of that's just chasing IPA and like what's new and current, and like trying to chase after the new hops that are just coming out.
Yeah, there are a ton coming out this year too. I was super surprised.
Right, that's what I really get into is just chasing new flavors in IPA to make more unique flavors, expressive hop flavors, all that. But the taproom staff definitely really gets excited when we're brewing not an IPA.
Yeah.
So definitely been working on more diversity off the pallet system to just highlight different beer styles at the tap room, and then make one that really resonates with customers. Then we have different limited releases on the production system, and I think we're shooting for 6 different like larger production releases that all would have come from innovation on the pallet system, something that resonated, or a few that maybe the brewers championed that they really liked, or whatever. So.
Do y'all get input from the staff on different things as well?
Yeah, we've
sure.
got different avenues that we're trying to explore for that kind of feedback. Talking with staff, we've got beer innovation meetings on the Bucks that we do every other week.
Oh, right on. Solid.
That's kind of like the guiding line for the pallet system. Like, get some structured tasting notes, and just kind of review what's been off the pallet system, what's coming up, and taste commercial beers out there if we're looking to put a new beer in the market.
That's smart.
Okay, what's in the market? What do we like? What do we want to make? To fit that.
Well, super smart. Do you feel like employees here feel like they're connected to the process when it comes to making beer?
Yeah, that's a good question, and something we're always working on, how to make that happen. I think for me personally, one of the big changes of us moving from production off-site to having been in the pub is just that disconnect, right? So we used to be right here in the same location. There was no wall or anything between the bar and the brewery, so just like you're part of it. Like you're there for that 10-hour shift. We're open to the public, and it's like you really were engaged in what was going on. So that's been challenging now that all the production's moved off-site. One of my roles is I have a lot of meetings that I attend to that stage, and there's a tap room meeting that happens every other week, and so that's kind of like a number of people in that meeting, but my role is to try to bring that production side into the tap room environment, and just how to bridge those two buildings. We have events at the two places where we get staff to come.
Very cool.
From each.
Nice.
But
keep them camaraderie going.
Yeah, it's still something we're actively working on, and still trying to figure out how you keep that engagement between the two locations, keep people involved and excited, and all that.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, thankfully, y'all aren't so far away. So that does help a little bit.
It is very
It's a
close.
3-minute drive.
It's like less than a mile. For
Yeah,
sure.
that's helpful for sure.
Yeah.
So very cool. Do y'all feel like moving into like different when y'all are releasing beers? You talked about a couple of events. Like, do you all feel like when y'all do stuff here at the pub, people from the production facility are like coming and engaging in any of the events that are happening, or like different things that are, or I don't know, just the back and forth between the two? Do y'all feel like y'all have open spaces for employees to contribute to each other's daily jobs or something?
I also feel like you guys employ like at least a quarter of the town. Like when we talked to San Juan Island Brewing, it was the same thing. He talked about like the seasonal effects for tourism, but he's like, we employ like 50 people, and he's like, that's literally like about half the workforce here on San Juan Island.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, it's what we're always trying to improve for sure.
Yeah.
A lot of the guys, myself included, at the end of the day, after a 10-hour day, it's tough to go down to, another location to hang out and drink beer, but
to even compensate. Yeah.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Sometimes you just want to be
just
alone.
go have a beer. You're off work, you want to go home, relax, kick your feet up, especially depending on how the day went. We all know there's days where you just want to go home and that's it.
You sit in the shower and cry.
Yeah,
Been there, done that.
Yeah, well, we're really trying to encourage more, interaction between the two sites. And,
Okay.
It has been getting a lot better, and it's fun to see everybody kind of get together and hang out and try and bridge that gap. Because as Collin said, it's it's a lot different not being in the same building.
Yeah.
Having everybody kind of spread out a little bit. So I think any brewery will have to deal with that when they move their production operations to a different location.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Do y'all talk with other breweries in the area? I know there's not very many because y'all are a little bit more remote, but like, are there other, I know y'all have done collaborations and different things, but y'all have relationships with other breweries that y'all connect with and talk to about not only beer, but like how y'all are doing things?
Yeah, for sure. We've got some friends down in the Yakima Valley that we, definitely will ping ideas off of, or, especially if there's, some equipment that, we're troubleshooting to say, hey, have you guys ever dealt with this before?
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing I love about the craft brewing industry is that, we're all part of it together. We all like to help each other out. It's great. I'm actually on I'm on a text thread with guys from Hopworks down in Portland, Crux over there in Bend, Bale Breaker down in Yakima.
Nice.
Because we all have the same canning line.
Oh,
when
nice.
something goes awry with the canning line, or
just check the Discord or
you
the
need a
message
spare,
thread.
you need a spare part or something that maybe you don't have in stock. You reach out and say, hey, anybody help me out? So it's there's a lot of communication with breweries around the area. And like you said, we are kind of out here in the middle, kind of on our own. Eastern Washington is pretty sparse and spread out, so it's not like there's. We do have a couple other breweries here in town, which is great, but it's not like, if you're in the Puget Sound area where there's 100.
You can throw a rock and hit 5 of them.
So,
yeah.
Yeah, totally. That makes sense. Yeah.
Definitely a little jealous of those kind of larger communities where it's like you could, you're trying to troubleshoot something. There's like, just dozens of breweries like in your neighborhood, let alone that you could go talk out problems or ping some ideas around. But,
It is funny because I feel like there's almost like a little sadistic way of when you ask about a problem and brewers have been through it and they just want you to go through the pain and have the failure to be like, yeah, I've been through that. Here's the solution. It's like, why couldn't you tell me that at the start? And they're just like, well, because you need to earn these scars. You need to learn it. And I'm like, dude, I didn't have to cry and drink a beer in the shower tonight. You could have just told me the answer.
I'm sure it goes both ways.
Yeah,
But,
definitely. That's good.
Well, you guys have been expanding. Watching your growth, and we've been in the Oregon market for a long time, but the marketing and branding has been on point. I feel like we see your beer everywhere. What's that look like, obviously, with the production facility? What's been the barrelage jump that you guys have gone through? Or what's projected? I guess it's it's never a consistent number.
Yeah, you always we have lots of conversations and meetings to try and figure out what's the sweet spot. How many barrels is the sweet spot? You don't necessarily like to prescribe to that. If you're not growing, you're dying kind of mentality. So we think that there is a sweet spot out there.
More sustainable approach.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You can be sustainable and take care of your employees and make sure you're not maxing out and ruining your equipment. But But for us, I mean, it's been pretty consistent growth year over year.
Nice.
Good.
Good.
2000, we opened up the facility in 2019, the production facility.
Oh, okay, right before COVID.
Right before COVID hit. So we were actually kind of fortunate because we were gearing ourselves towards getting into cans.
Okay.
Yeah, we had invested in a canning line. We built it knowing that was going to be our main form of package.
Okay.
But in 2019, we were still pretty heavy draft. We were like 70% draft, actually 80% draft, 20% package at
dang,
the time.
Okay.
And then COVID hit and totally flipped that on its end. So
Gotcha.
we obviously, through 2020 it was 99% package. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Zero draft through those rough months of 2020. But
not that you could put on books because the staff obviously is drinking draft, but not patrons.
But yeah, so that year I think in 2019 we did about 6,800 barrels, and then in 2020 we about 7,000 barrels.
Okay.
So very small
But
there that year.
Growth.
But
a lot of people
bit,
didn't move or decline.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So the fact that it was 2020 was pretty awesome. But yeah, since then we did just about 11,500 barrels last year.
Congratulations!
Yeah,
That's
thanks.
fucking awesome.
So it was pretty sweet to kind of slowly see that we cracked that 10,000 barrel mark. Was a pretty big moment for us, especially in my mind. I thought it was a big success for us to get to that point. But
10,000 barrels is a lot of work.
Yeah, so that's been since 2019, just under 7, or you could say 2020, 7,000 barrels to
now it's
11,
consistently
11
over 10.
and a half. Yeah, 11 and a half last year. It's a pretty good year over year, just growth. So it's not like we saw one year we had just a big jump where we saw 5,000 extra barrels or anything. It's been so we got a great sales team that's been really grinding it out there, to get our beer in where it needs to go, and finding new points of distribution has been a big focus for them, and so that's really helped us continue to grow.
Yeah, distro's always a fun problem to try and solve and figure out.
Yeah, what states do y'all distribute to?
Yeah.
Well, right now we're all of Washington, all of Idaho, so just the 2 states.
Oh, awesome.
And we just opened up Alaska literally last month, so now we're up in Alaska, slowly growing that market up there. So started with Safeways, chain sets up there, but looking at some smaller stores and whatnot. And that's
wonderful.
Mainly due to our distribution partnership. We were able to open up that territory, and right now, it's funny. We made our plan for 2024. Said we're gonna geographical footprint's not going to change much, and we're going to focus on getting our legs underneath us, because you can see growth year over year, and you feel like you're not catching up with yourself. When you keep pushing the production, but when you get an opportunity, you got to take it. So,
100%. You don't want to miss a door.
Yeah, when Alaska says, "Hey, we'd like to bring your beer," and you say, "Okay."
Yes. We can do that.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. So how do we do that?
Yeah. How do we do that? Yes.
We're gonna bring it over on crab boats and just tow it behind.
That's very cool. Well, with all of the growth, all the things that y'all have been through, like y'all have incredible stories. Icicle itself has an incredible story. Is there a piece of advice that you would give to your younger self, looking back on the past few years or whatnot before y'all got into this industry?
Yeah, I don't know if you could.
Travel back in time and tell your 21-year-old self while you're drunk, be like, "Listen here, dude."
Yeah. And I don't know. You never know what you're gonna get. You never know what's gonna throw at you. Just stay flexible, stay nimble.
Nice.
So don't get stuck in a certain way of doing things or a certain style of beer that you're trying to make. Depending on what your goals are. If you want to grow and you want to sell out to the market, that's one thing. You got to do what the consumer wants to drink. But if you want to be a traditionalist and brew only the beer that you like, and you can do that as well. I think there's room for everybody out there.
I like that.
So.
What about you, Collin?
Yeah, I just say love what you do, and you'll never work a day in your life. So
solid.
You find what that is, and if that's the chaos of production facility, then so be it. If it's something else, you just need to find it.
I think we say this on every podcast. People in this industry are like crazy ambition, passionate, creative, slightly psychotic, and really smart people, and we all kind of look at each other being like, "What are we doing in this industry?" And it's like, "Oh, but this is what we love." And so it's like, the money, all of that's always secondary to like just how you feel at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's so good.
Yeah.
Love that so much. Do y'all have anything coming up this summer? I mean, we're in May
releases,
now.
events.
Do y'all have anything that you're excited about?
Yeah, we always have more releases planned. One of our probably biggest releases as a company, just fresh off the press a few weeks ago, should be out in the market for people to find, is our collaboration with Opera House.
Nice.
We brewed a Helles Lager with them. You know, it ties into our sister company there, the München House.
Mm-hmm.
That was a huge project to pull off, and had a really great release party here for that.
Very cool.
Oh, heck yeah.
That was a big one for us, and it's just coming out on the market now, so it's absolutely
just shipped it out last week or week before, so it should be filtered out into the world now.
Oh, hell yeah. Exciting. Yeah, so look for the Icicle Hofbrau collaboration, Helles.
Yeah. Right? Yeah, so
Please.
That's a big one.
Perfect summer drinker.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm pretty focused on the palate releases that we, pretty much once a week on Thursdays have a new palate beer coming out. That's kind of the goal.
Nice.
Yeah.
Can I put in a suggestion?
Yeah.
Can you do Goza?
Yeah.
Goza or Groziski, but
Both
Goza. I feel like on a hot summer day, something tart, tangy. I'm just like, oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. We've. It's been a number of years since we did a traditional.
I also know it's a pain in the ass to brew, so I also understand that aspect of why people don't do it.
Yeah. We had one just recently from Narrows. They had a really good Goza, so that's why
Matt
he's
at American
jonesing on
Slayer
it.
always does fun Gozas, and he puts like Gatorade in it, and he calls it like Tulsa Gatorade or something. It's like a Goza with like Gatorade thrown in it, like fruit punch.
Yeah.
He's a great guy, but
Yeah.
super fun.
Any events coming up? Or things y'all do for the summer? Because I'm sure, y'all are very much tourist-ish town. Like
and I feel like it's 24/7 here. I feel like there's lulls, but I feel like it's not a consistent stopping point.
Yeah, so we're actually just getting into the busy season now. Memorial Day is right around the corner, and
Gotcha.
Leavenworth is super busy during the year.
the whole year.
The nonstop.
The whole year. We do see a bit of a lull. We're ending the lull right now. So
Gotcha.
just fun release parties every time we got a new beer out. We got a couple festivals coming up. Washington Brewers Fest is coming up. We're looking to put out some fun releases to take with us over there.
Nice.
I can't think of anything right off the top of my head other than focusing on innovation and keeping Collin busy on that pilot.
He's like, let's crank it out.
Right. We do a lot of live music here weekly. So
sweet, cool.
I saw some game night things.
Right. Yeah. I don't have the events calendar in front of me, but we there's a team of people who work on making sure there's fun, engaging events at the tap room. It's not just it's not just here for beer, but there should be between. All sorts of different events.
Bingo, trivia.
I saw there was like an adult
spelling bee.
I was like, I would fail at
I hope
that.
it's like every single round that you pass, you have to finish a pint.
This week we've got slot car races on Wednesday.
Rad.
So we've got a cool
That'll be super
slot
fun.
car track. So
that's awesome.
We'll do
That's
that.
pretty sick.
Ping pong tournaments down here too. That usually brings in a good crowd.
Oh,
People
heck
who,
yeah.
the ping pong all stars.
Yeah.
Come out on those nights for sure. And
Nice.
you think you're good at ping pong until you play some of these guys.
Yeah.
All the players at Freem from Hood River come up and challenge.
Yeah, they should.
They used to do, there's some time they set up like ping pong. We'd always, production people versus seller people, we'd always kick their ass.
Yeah.
Nice.
What does Oktoberfest look like here at the brewery for y'all?
Busy.
Yeah.
We pour a lot of beer.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
That's always solid.
The past couple years have been great. The city's kind of taken back over the Oktoberfest celebration as a whole, so it's run by the chamber.
Nice.
So it's really fun. They've got
Before, was it individual businesses?
Well, so there was a group that ran it in the past, Project Baron, who kind of had, they had the rights to Oktoberfest, but things kind of worked out a little bit differently, and the chamber's now kind of taking it over here in the Leavenworth area. So they do a lot of work with bringing a lot of families in for that. We do the parking lot over here is filled with a Ferris wheel. And,
nice. Okay.
There's beer garden tents over here, and then downtown in the main park, there's another beer garden down there, and they do a good job of spreading it out throughout the community.
Okay.
And
perfect.
Let people kind of have multiple of options for what they do.
Yeah.
And then here at the tap room, we just pour the beer for the people. There's always a line out the door, and
Hell yeah.
it's hard to get tables sometimes, but we try and quench all the thirsts out
Yeah.
there.
100%. It's well worth it.
Yeah.
We've never been, but I would love to come for an Oktoberfest.
Yeah.
It's a family friendly event
Yeah.
now. There's events for kids and families and all ages. There's also tents to drink beer in
Yeah.
if that's what you're looking for as well.
Nice.
But, and then just recently in the last few years we started a Leavenworth Fest beer collaboration. So the
Okay.
3 breweries here in town, we get together and collaborate over a fest beer recipe.
Very
Oh,
cool.
fun. Hell
That
yeah.
is cool.
We ended up brewing it on our system so that we can get the volume that
Yeah.
we need.
Yeah. I'm
Uh,
sure.
But yeah, so that's been cool too. And then there's a donation aspect to that collab.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah. Donate to the local area for sure.
Yeah.
I also saw too, like, I think it's part of your guys' business model, 1% of
Yeah.
what you make goes.
1% for the planet.
Yeah,
So,
gotcha. So we're
yeah.
closing out the podcast if you want to talk about that a little bit. And then,
Yeah, sure. Just basically 1% of all our distribution sales we donate throughout the year. Donate to basically 1% for the planet, supporting organizations, nonprofits. Fisheries are a great one, especially salmon. As Collin talked about, salmon in the area. But,
all the connection to it.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
awesome.
so
Drinking beer for a cause is fucking great.
Yeah, so anytime you buy something out in the market of Icicle, that helps donations for local nonprofits that are also supported by 1% for the planet. So basically groups that support sustainability, for the earth and our ecosystem to make sure that we can preserve, the planet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Keep us here a little bit longer.
Yeah, exactly. For future generations. right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Fun.
Future brewers.
That's awesome.
Well, we appreciate your time.
Thank you
Again,
both.
thank you so much. It's been so much
Yeah.
fun.
Thanks,
Drink Icicle Brewing
Yeah,
beer,
it's
please.
so good.
Anywhere you can buy it, Idaho, Washington, Alaska. Get your hands on some.
I just want to drive to Alaska and buy an Icicle beer in Alaska.
Yeah.
Is what I want to do. So we'll do that.
Thank you, friends.
Thank
Yeah,
y'all so
hey,
much.
thank you guys.
Cheers.